That says everything that you need to know.
Outside Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, protesters rallied in support of the former president and current 2024 presidential candidate. Trump has denied any wrongdoing. Republican allies call the investigation politically motivated.
This was 7 years ago, statute of limitation. And I think in your heart of hearts, you know, too, that you think this is just political. And I think that's what the rest of the country thinks. And we're kind of tired of that.
Security has
and led to the charges. TPD charged Blackwell with 2 counts of sexual battery, 1 count of enticement of a minor for sexual purposes after getting a tip. The police and sheriff's departments are now working together in this ongoing investigation. And a man has been indicted in Clay County on a child sex crime and the spread of HIV. 31-year-old DeMonte Cantrell is charged with possession of child pornography and exposure to HIV. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says Cantrell was arrested in Orlando, Florida, and extradited to West Point. This indictment claims he allegedly infected the person in 2018. That's the same year those child pornography charges were brought against him. No bond has been set for Cantrell. Well, from searches to gathering pictures from up high, drones have become a critical part of helping deputies in the Winston County Sheriff's Office. The department recently received $25,000 from businesses in the community to help them pay for 2 new drones. Devices can fly in bad weather and they reach higher altitudes than the department's first drone. Deputies say they appreciate the generous donations from businesses and community partners.
The community has been overwhelmingly generous. I mean, every small business in town was able to donate.
Home being the source of a fire. Columbus Fire Chief Dwayne Hughes says you need to do more to change out your monthly air filter to prevent a fire. Dust and debris collecting in air ducts is normal, but when heat is introduced to the dirt, that buildup can spark flames that can spread throughout the entire HVAC system. Most buildings are designed to prevent the spread using ducts that close. Dirt and other accumulation can keep those doors from closing. Fires can then use the ducts as a tunnel system to travel through the fire protection systems of a building or a home.
Normally, our HVAC systems are controlled by thermostats. And when
which means that I'm normally giving you your narrative, which clarifies that the deniability of this crime is created by giving you the option to choose whether the glass is half full or half empty. What I have chosen is to declare the entire experiment in and of itself a violation of the Constitution, not just my constitutional right, but the entire concept of why the Constitution was formulated.
temperature drops.
The whole purpose of why the United States formed a constitution through wars and genocides and slavery, that whole purpose is afoot now because of this experiment. Now, I have the First Amendment right to say that until your faggot took over.
So furnaces turn on. If you get a smell of
Now, you can go on with the experiment and try to decide whether or not good, bad, evil, demon, angel. I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck about the fact that you have defaulted on my right to call you a fucking faggot.
any type of smoke, any acrid smells, that's probably a hint that you have dirty ducts.
And Chief Hughes says if you notice any of these signs, you should probably call 911. A former Tupelo youth pastor is facing more child sex crime charges. 27-year-old Alexander Blackwelder is now facing 2 counts of sexual battery by the Lee County Sheriff's Office. In a press release, Sheriff Jim Johnson says Tupelo police turned over information to deputies from their investigation into Blackwell and led to the charges. TPD charged Blackwell with 2 counts of sexual battery one count of enticement of a minor for sexual purposes after getting a tip. The police and sheriff's departments are now working together in this ongoing investigation. And a man has been indicted in Clay County on a child sex crime and the spread of HIV. 31-year-old DeMonte Cantrell is charged with possession of child pornography and exposure to HIV. Clay County Sheriff Eddie Scott says Cantrell was arrested in Orlando, Florida, and extradited to West Point. This indictment claims he allegedly infected the person in 2018. That's the same year those child pornography charges were brought against him. No bond has been set for Cantrell. Well, from searches to gathering pictures from up high, drones have become a critical part of helping deputies in the Winston County Sheriff's Office. The department recently received $25,000 from businesses in the community to help them pay for 2 new drones. The devices can fly in bad weather and they reach higher altitudes than the department's first drone. Deputies say they appreciate the generous donations from businesses and community partners.
The community has been overwhelmingly generous. I mean, every small business in town was able to donate at some amount. You know, we didn't put a minimum donation on it, and we didn't cap the maximum donation.
And Deputy Core says the new drones have helped them investigate several cases already. Well, with the state's largest economic development plan signed off on and breaking ground, the Golden Triangle Development Link is looking ahead to the next challenge. Link CEO Joe Max Higgins delivered an update on progress at Aluminum Dynamics and what could be happening in the future. Higgins laid out a proposed timeline on construction of the plant. He also said since the plant will be occupying the latest industrial megasite, the Link is now faced with finding enough available land to prepare a new one. Higgins reiterated that Aluminum Dynamics plans to hire locally as much as possible, although they will be bringing about 10% of the startup staff from existing operations. In fact, some of those people have already bought homes or property to build on in the Golden Triangle. He expects the expansion to bring more people to the area if they can find the things they're looking for.
If you got kids, you're looking at schools. Okay.
Right.
If you don't have kids, you're looking at safety. Those of us that are married and got wives, they're going to want a place.
Higgins also updated growth at other industries like PACCAR, Airbus, and Aurora, which was recently acquired by Boeing, making Lowndes County home to 2 international leaders in aviation. Federal officials seek to calm nerves about the U.S. financial system, declaring that the banking system is safe and is secure for all of us. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen delivered that message during an address to the American Bankers Association meeting in Washington. But the message was meant for anyone who has their money deposited in a U.S. bank. Skylar Henry brings us the details on that.
Banking stocks are up after Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen reassured America's bankers that the government may still step in to protect the deposits of all of their customers, just like it did with Silicon Valley and Signature banks.
Our intervention was necessary to protect the broader U.S. banking system, and similar actions could be warranted if smaller institutions suffered deposit runs that pose the risk of contagion.
Intervention may also still be necessary for First Republic Bank, despite nearly a dozen larger banks pouring in $30 billion to keep it from failing.
We're continuing to monitor conditions closely. My team and I have been in close communication with many of you.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the investment may not be enough to save First Republic.
Despite 11 banks putting $30 billion into First Republic, $70 billion has left that bank this month.
This comes as the Federal Reserve has begun a 2-day meeting to discuss whether it needs to raise interest rates again to continue to combat inflation. Some investors are calling for the Fed to hold off on raising rates because higher rates are at least partly to blame for the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank in California. On the other hand, not raising rates may send a signal that the Fed is concerned about the banking system.
If we are really believing that this is mostly about confidence and we need to shore up confidence, I hear that the most likely path for this 2-day meeting is a 0.25 percentage point increase.
Fed Chairman Jerome Powell will announce the decision Wednesday. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
Coming up, you probably have dozens, even hundreds of these stored away. More on the milestone birthday for the CD when we come back.
Morning. Hardee's 2 for $5 mix and match breakfast starts your day with made from scratch sausage and egg biscuits, biscuit and gravy, or syrupy French toast dips. Bikini 2, just $5. My rewards members get exclusive offers on the Hardee's app.
The new 2023 GMC Sierra AT4X is equipped to conquer the great outdoors or the great indoors. Welcome to the peak of premium off-roading. Or get 2.9% APR for 5 years on the turbo high-output engine Sierra light-duty elevation model. Plus, current eligible GMC owners get $5,500 total value.
Okay, everybody, let's take 10.
Hey, Jerry and Darcy, come check this out.
I'm on with my honey. Want to say hi?
Oh, it's actually Honey. You know who adores Honey? Darcy.
Huge honey fan. Show me what you got.
You're sure Jason likes bangs?
Who cares what Jason likes?
I know our fiber's fast, but slow down.
So close to our customers, you might as well be in the room with us. Get the Samsung Galaxy S23 on us with trade-in. Customer inspired, that's C-Spire.
Carl Hogan Chevy GMC aces the competition at the lowest price. We're serving up deals like these.
While the clock springs forward, Carl Hogan is rolling back the prices. It's our daylight savings sale. You'll save on everything under the sun. Over 70 new trucks are in stock and on the way. Silverados and Sierras are up to $4,000 off. Find your best deals during our daylight savings sale.
Game, set, match.
Carl Hogan Chevrolet GMC in Columbus.
It's the Hardee's Star Deal Combo. Get a Hardee's Charbroiled Double Cheeseburger, crispy 3-piece hand-breaded chicken tenders, or original hot ham and cheese with a small fry and drink for just $5.99. My rewards members get exclusive offers on the Hardee's app.
Telling your story on WCBI News at 5 with Andrea Sell.
Welcome back. A birthday wish from a woman in Louisville is trending on Facebook, and it's raising money for a children's hospital. Miss Jean Woodruff said for her 95th birthday, she wanted everyone to give her $1, and then she would match the total amount and give it to St. Jude Children's Hospital in Memphis. Woodruff was only expecting maybe to get around $20, but after her request was posted on Facebook, she now has received almost $1,000 from 10 different states. She says she's overwhelmed by the response and just thankful for all of the donations.
Well, I'm so blessed. God has been so good to me, and He's so blessed me. And what a great cause.
Going to talk more with Ms. Woodruff coming up at 6, but her birthday wish got almost 170 shares.
I know where the fuck I am, and I know what the fuck I did.
Going on this week.
Fuck you, bitch.
Well, they're turning.
This is why your bitch ass stay in that motherfucking box talking and hide behind the little old woman next door, bitch, because you a fucking faggot.
Over to the U.S. until March of 1983.
We can help. Call now to receive.
You act like you're bad now, because I can't do nothing. I got this badge on. You better be glad I got. So the badge made you a faggot. Because I remember a time when you used to use the word faggot quite fucking frequently. Now you can't be a motherfucking man because a badge that made you a motherfucking faggot. For real.
Now there's another way to help kids get the nutrition they need.
Johnson says the new charges were added after further investigation. It was determined that some information and more allegations had come forward. And Sheriff Johnson says that these allegations and further investigation from Tupelo Police and their office, they've had enough probable cause to add these charges. We'll keep you updated as the story continues. Reporting live from Tupelo, Garner Montgomery, WTVA 9 News.
A disabled veteran got a miracle after a Facebook post. He says now he's free again after 6 months. WTVA's Chris Knowles joining us live in Starkville with his story.
Craig, Emily, something special happened today. A U.S. Army veteran, double amputee, was stuck in his house for nearly 6 months after his car broke down. A local resident made a Facebook post, and that was the beginning of something very special. I'm free. I'm free is how Randall McKinstry, a disabled U.S. Army veteran, describes his emotions after being without transportation for half of a year. McKinstry says being housebound had a ripple effect on his life.
I live in an apartment, so it's like the walls just came in, and then the place couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything, couldn't get to the gym, work out, had to miss a lot of appointments. Just
This special day all started from a Facebook post from a friend.
I went to visit my friend. He was talking about the fact that he wasn't able to get out of the house due to the fact that his car broke down and the four walls was closing up. Oh, that's what prompted me to say, hey, you know what? It's time for me to take charge and do something to help him.
Rice raffled an electric bike on Facebook to raise money for McKinstry, not knowing he would get a special call from a mechanic offering to repair McKinstry's vehicle for free.
And I just hate seeing him stranded in his home, not being able to get out and get to the gym and grocery store and things like that. So, that's what we do, is install motors and mechanical work. So I wanted to help.
Clark tells me that it wasn't an easy process to repair this vehicle.
We replaced the engine. His engine was damaged. We also had to install a radiator. That's what damaged the engine. But just replaced the engine and put it to fresh oil and fresh gaskets and some things, and got it going.
After working countless hours here in the shop, the mechanics were able to use this hook and this machine to raise his engine and get him up back and running. McKinstry says he's very thankful and glad that he can now live a normal life again.
God is good, and he's good all the time. And to make good people, like John Rice, and just communicate together, really get to do, and
it was all smiles here at A Plus Auto today when Mr. McKinstry came and picked up his car and drove it off. Everyone was just happy and thankful to be able to help him. Reporting live in Starkville, Chris Knowles, WTVA 9 News.
The WTVA Spring Senior Health Fair was a huge success. Many folks came through Building 5, the Tupelo Furniture Market. Many of these folks headed straight to Baptist Memorial Hospital's booth. Nurses were on hand to check people's blood pressure. The community outreach coordinator for the hospital system says she's happy they did.
We have found some elevated blood pressures today and encourage them to follow up with their primary care physician or their nurse practitioner to continue. And we've had several that have great blood pressures and keep doing what they're doing on a daily basis.
Baptist also did glucose screenings and provided medical information for the seniors. The Mississippi Department of Transportation awarded contracts.
No, not the Mississippi Department of Transportation. It's the Mississippi State University, Dak Prescott, Bonita Martin, and Roger Lott. Hide, motherfucker! Hide!
For road maintenance work in Winston County. One of them is a paving project along Highway 25 from the Itala County line to just north of Plattsburgh Road. This includes milling and overlay work. Don't be surprised if you see delays on that stretch of highway. It's expected to be finished this summer.
The Mississippi Automotive Manufacturers Association opens the application process for community college and university students. The students can study automotive.
Bitch, I dropped it off to your 11.
Fields. They're the one.
I don't give a fuck! I don't give a fuck! We got a territorial problem, and that is what I'm focused on.
That can apply. The 15 scholarships were awarded last year. The association has given more than $375,000 in scholarships in over 15 years.
Mississippi tourism leaders say they're excited about the upcoming Amtrak traffic along the Gulf Coast. The New Orleans to Mobile route's been shut down since Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Experts say this opens the door for train day trips across the coast, meaning you don't need to drive in your car. Amtrak has not announced when that service will start, but it's expected sometime later this year.
The Alabama legislature has approved a bill to provide more funding for hospitals and for nursing homes. The bill calls for the remaining funds from the state's American Rescue Act to help make up the losses during the pandemic. The money amounts to about $200 million, according to this.
It was not an accident, bitch. You dropped off a bunch of motherfucking kids. I don't give a fuck what kind of lies they mama told. They were here. Bitch, they were here, live, breathing, fucking humans. And I have seen what you do to a bitch who don't give a fuck about their kids.
Senate version.
So let's go, bitch. Who my sister? Who my motherfucking brother? Answer me!
The Hospital Association says the money will help many facilities meet their payroll, but not enough to recoup any COVID losses. Alabama lawmakers are also moving forward on plans to build a new state prison.
Bring your motherfucking ass over here and get in that conversation.
Decision was made despite the new construction cost estimates. The Alabama Department of Corrections now estimates the cost of the first prison will be more than $1 billion. Alabama's province, the U.S. Justice Department, to add more prison beds to help solve overcrowding issues or face heavy fines. Barriers appeared around the U.S. Capitol today.
Drag shows on campus. West Texas A&M University President Dr. Walter Wendler says a planned drag show will not happen as planned. The drag show was in support of the Trevor Project, an organization focusing on suicide prevention in the LGBTQ plus community. Buffs for Drag released a statement.
Spin it, motherfucker! Spin it!
Saying the show should be reinstated and that the decision was made based on Wendler's personal beliefs, which do not reflect the majority of the student body. The Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression sent a letter to the president that states that due to the U.S. Constitution and to Texas state law, the public university cannot cancel an artistic performance because it conflicts with an administrator's personal beliefs.
It's 5:12 now, 62 degrees outside as we look live in West Point. The sun is shining, just a little bit warmer today.
Poor ones.
I'm gonna give it to you, bitch. The little fire starter, the little bald head white boy spinning around talking about the Fire Nation started a war, did drop a little tidbit in my head that said, yes, if I send this letter, there will be a war started in this territory to protect my mother.
U.S. had pledged the modern M1A2 tanks have a newer.
But spin it, bitch! Spin it! I'm here now!
Targeting system. However, building new ones or upgrading existing models would take time and require more training. That could be a problem for Ukraine since it's getting ready to launch a spring offensive. So the U.S. is changing course and sending M1A1 tanks instead. That will shave months off the shipping time and reduce the training needed. The number of tanks the U.S. plans to send remains the same at 31. Also, U.S. defense officials say a group of 65 Ukrainian soldiers will complete training on the Patriot missile systems in Oklahoma in the coming days. Ukrainian troops will then move on to Europe for more training on the 2 Patriot systems, one American and
I don't give a fuck. It's my motherfucking mouth.
Some investors have called on the Fed to hold off, citing more stress on American banks in the wake of the collapse of Silicon
my motherfucking mouth.
Bank.
Some schools are struggling to handle student lunch debt. Now,
able to breathe. Pierre Tapas with late reporting. We're tracking this new and dangerous cross-country storm, flooding rains, winds gusting more than 80 miles per hour from the west to Texas, Tennessee, then right up into the
committed criminal violations by knowingly misleading his attorneys so that they would file a sworn statement that he knew was false. That sworn statement came in June when Trump's lawyers certified that a diligent search of his Mar-a-Lago estate determined he had turned over all the classified documents in his possession. The special counsel convinced the judge the evidence was strong that the lawyers filed that statement because Trump had misled them. 2 months later, when FBI agents searched the premises, prosecutors say they found more than 100 additional classified documents, including some in Trump's office desk. The shameful raid and break-in of my home, Mar-a-Lago, was a travesty of justice. Sources tell ABC News the judge ordered Trump lawyer Evan Corcoran to hand over a number of records, including handwritten notes, invoices, and transcriptions of audio recordings related to what she called Trump's alleged criminal scheme. The judge's order doesn't mean Trump is guilty or that he will be charged in that case, but rather that prosecutors have made a case that they have preliminary evidence he may have committed a crime. All of this comes amid anticipation Trump will be indicted in that entirely different case brought by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. That case involves hush money payments made to porn star Stormy Daniels in the days before the 2016 election. A grand jury could hand up charges as early as tomorrow. The former president has called for his supporters to protest.
And John Carl with us here in New York tonight. And John, obviously, you know, but just to keep this clear for everyone at home, these are 2 separate cases here. In the New York City case, this hush money case, we know a possible indictment could come as early as tomorrow, but we simply still do not know.
Yeah, we don't know. A lot of speculation about this, much of it coming from Donald Trump himself, but we don't know.
Us tonight, and we warn you, the video is disturbing.
Tonight,
yes. But this apparently was not cardiac arrest, and it's
Thursday, and it looks like North Texas will be under the gun, and then
Some parents scrambling.
It's a shuffle.
Nuts. So a bitch is too crazy to tell you now, I'm prepared to sue you for what you did to my aunt, and I need protection for it. A bitch too crazy to tell you that right to your motherfucking face.
Yeah, it becomes kind of juggling, and that's why at the last minute or just the shorter notice, I think this time is harder.
I'm a fucking American!
tonight in the grandest of halls inside the Kremlin, President Putin.
Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, nearly 2 weeks after traveling to Iowa.
Another school said he hadn't fully exhausted administrative remedies. To the economy tonight, home prices falling for the first time in more than a decade.
EVA Tupelo.
We're offering discount.
From their investigation into Blackwell and led to the charges. TPD charged Blackwell with 2 counts of sexual battery and 1 count. Bond is set at $100,000. He has been ordered to have no contact with the victim. A man has been indicted in Clay County on a child sex crime and the spread of HIV. 31-year-old DeMonte Cantrell is in jail to find out what nurses see in a day and why they choose to give care to people who are behind bars.
We assess them as their nurses, and we'll call.
Drugstores, and with me on an average of 90 inmates, you can about see what our pharmacy bill runs a month.
And while the nurse and community counseling on staff, infirmary nurses have to be knowledgeable.
They need to see a specialist. All that is organized and taken to drugstores. And with me on an average of 90 inmates, you can.
Needs. Rickard says
They need to see a specialist. All that is organized and taken to drugstores.
It doesn't matter what they've done. We still are going to take care of them to the.
At the Clay County Jail, Sheriff Eddie Scott says his team is fortunate to have a doctor.
Issues. We work very closely with our jail doctor. Medicines are just like the general public. We get to pay the same thing.
And we're going to treat them like human beings because they are.
And flexible.
We have some inmates that has extreme.
While they may be behind bars, inmates get the same medication they would on the outside.
Drugstores, and with me on an average of 90 inmates, you can about see what our pharmacy bill runs a month.
And while the medical staff is there to assist needs, Rickard says it's important to her to give care beyond the infirmary.
They need help with staying clean and sober, and so.
It's fortunate to have a doctor and flexible.
We have some inmates that has extreme. They need to see a specialist. All that is organized and taken to drugstores, and with me on an average of 90 inmates, you can.
They need help with staying clean and sober, and so me and my husband actually have a group that we meet on every Sunday night called the Recovery Room, the Assembly Recovery Room, and we meet and we just love on them and just help them the best that we know how.
Nurses are on call 24/7 even after the regular shift ends.
Well, the Winston County Sheriff's Department has been building its drone fleet. The Sheriff's Office recently received $25,000.
The bitch sell me a bunch of bullshit that I already know is a bunch of bullshit, and then believe that I actually bought it without me paying her. I didn't pay you, bitch. That means there's no sale. Clearly, if you're walking away and you still have the bullshit in your hands, and I have not paid you a fucking dime, you have not sold me a fucking thing. But you keep believing that. Keep believing you sold it to me.
From area businesses to pay for some equipment upgrades. Those upgrades included 2 new drones. The new models are able to fly in bad weather and fly higher than the first drone the department had. Deputies say they still plan to use all 3 drones. And
are you waiting for a conversation about me attempting to file my motherfucking taxes and your drone showing up? I'm waiting for you, bitch. I'm waiting for you.
The community has been overwhelmingly generous. I mean, every small business in town was able to donate.
You think I need a fucking Congress to write me a fucking law for you?
Some amount. You know, we didn't put a minimum donation on it, and we didn't.
You sit your ass in a witness chair and you say what the fuck you did and wait and see if I need a badge to fix it.
And Deputy Core says the new drones have already helped with a few cases so far. An AutoZone customer in Starkville left the store needing more than a few parts today. Look at this. The car burst into flames in the parking lot on Highway 12. This happened around 11:30 this morning.
And that this process is something that the city of Tupelo and its residents can be proud of.
To give their input throughout this process. With the state's largest economic development plan signed off
You're
on,
a fucking faggot. Your opinion matters to you.
Is now looking ahead to the next challenge.
Yes, you need your fucking head.
An update on progress.
And so do I.
And what could be happening in the future.
Coleman and Kosciuszko for all.
Told her about the birthday request, and she just
back battle when we come back.
Into the upper 40s and lower 50s.
We're offering you discounts on all new Nissan.
One call that
Tupelo police announced today they are still searching for Courtney Jamison. That's the man wanted for a recent shooting at Waffle House on South.
The city limits of Tupelo, but within Lee County's jurisdiction.
These additional charges were added after detectives with Tupelo police investigated some more allegations against Black Welder. A man is now in jail in Prentiss County accused charges related to his failure to disclose information involving expensive prescription pain cream. For 8 months now. Well, the waiting game continued today in Manhattan. We are talking about former President Donald Trump, who announced on Twitter earlier this week that he expected he would be arrested today. However, the grand jury is not meeting today. They'll be back in session tomorrow. Prosecutors are considering charges over a hush money payment involving adult film actress Stormy.
We did very well. Now it's a lot more difficult. You can't even find a butcher. There's no.
That's a valid point, Mr. Palmer. We can't find a butcher, but the old boy down there, he do his best. Good point. All you faggots that want to live here and die in this purple shit. We ain't got no more butchers.
It's 6:40.
I bet you they probably, old boys up there in New York probably got a place where you can go drop a bite off and never see it again.
You are
until you get ready to eat your dinner at night.
taking a live look at
This shit's stupid. Matter of fact, the way the story go, y'all better go be cleaning out the Jersey Shore. It's gonna start to smell worse than dead fish over there.
History's vehicle for free.
And I just hate seeing him stranded in his home, not being able to get out and get to the gym,
y'all be dumping out
grocery store and things like that. So, that's what we do, is install motors and chemical work. So I want to help.
Clark tells me that it wasn't an easy process to repair this vehicle.
We replaced the engine. His engine was damaged. We also had to install a radiator. That's what damaged the engine. But just replaced the engine and put it to fresh oil and fresh gaskets and some things and got it going.
After working countless hours here in the shop, the mechanics were able to use this hook and this machine to raise his engine and get him up back and running. McKinstry says he's very thankful and glad that he can now live a normal life.
I mean, you keep finding ways to get around the fact that you're one big faggot, and the only thing that you have to hide behind, because I've even removed my mom from your purview now because I'm fucking alive. The only thing that you have to hide behind now is exploiting your faggot diagnosis. So go ahead.
Yeah.
Mr. It just goes to show you that there's still some good people out here. And he goes by the name Mr.
Oh, that wasn't an accident. That wasn't an accident. For me to assist you with your decision to explore the diagnosis. Oh, bitch, everyone needs to know you do this.
The one that did the car, fixed the car. But I like to call him Mr. Wonderful.
Everybody need to know this what the fuck you get paid to do. Don't need to be no motherfucking secret. If you sign your name on this bitch shit, she finna torture you.
Long-term care, and of course, planning for medical.
about the upcoming Amtrak traffic along the Gulf Coast.
Now the only thing left is to find out whether you bitches do it unto death.
Why did you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia?
I help others, but I need to help protect myself.
Honestly, I couldn't afford to get sick.
I want to be there for this one. I can't if I'm sick.
Pneumococcal pneumonia is a potentially serious bacterial lung disease. You may be at risk if you're 19 to 64 with certain.
Ow.
Did you make that call?
Honey, we already have Medicare. Why do I need to call?
Alan, the Feldman said we may be able to get additional benefits with a Medicare Advantage plan right here in our zip code with $0 monthly premiums.
Honey, what do you mean additional benefits? We turned 65, we got Medicare. That's all there is to it, right?
I'm talking about Medicare Part C, commonly called Medicare Advantage. We have traditional Medicare, which is only Medicare Parts A and B, but not Part C.
Wait. So not everyone on Medicare is a Part C plan?
No, that's why we need to call, because there may be plans available with additional benefits that aren't covered under Medicare Parts A and B. We don't have a Medicare Part C plan, which covers everything in Part A and Part B, plus extra benefits in Medicare Part C.
What kind of extra benefits?
There are great plans that may be available with extra benefits like dental, vision, and hearing.
Did you say dental?
Yes, dental. Medicare Part C plans could include dental benefits that help cover routine dental exams and teeth cleanings, plus dental x-rays, fillings, gum disease treatment, and dentures.
We need that. I'm calling.
If you're losing coverage, moving, or new to Medicare, call to speak with a licensed insurance agent. If you don't have a Medicare Part C plan, call now because there may be plans with additional benefits available that are simply not covered under Medicare Parts A and B, like routine dental coverage. If you're on Medicare, you can call even if you called last year. We will check to see if there's a Part C plan available in your area with additional benefits. Remember, you don't get Medicare Part C benefits automatically. Call now for your free 2023 no obligation Medicare benefits review. Call 800-912-7406. 800-912-7406.
Next up, the Johnsons. When their water line broke, they paid over $2,600. On the flip side, the Ortegas, they're home-serve customers. When their sewer line broke, we sent out a contractor and covered the bill. Here's another water line break.
Call or go online now to help protect yourself from the high cost of a water or sewer line repair. Plans start at just $7.99 a month.
Contact HomeServe before there's a problem.
Call 1-800-357-2074 or visit homeserve.com.
My name is Ashley Cortez, and I'm the founder of the Stay Beautiful Foundation. When I started in 2016, I would go to the post office and literally fill out each person's name on a label. And now at ShipStation, we are shipping 500 beauty boxes a month. It takes less than 5 minutes for me to get all of my labels and get beauty in the hands of women who are battling cancer so much quicker.
ShipStation, the #1 choice of online sellers. Go to shipstation.com/TV and get 2 months free.
It's a new year, and you have new goals to chase, new success stories to write, new finish lines to run through. Echelon has everything you need to help you get there. With high-quality, affordable bikes, treadmills, rowers, and fitness mirrors, and easy access to an endless library of on- and off-equipment classes taught by world-class instructors.
You've got this.
Can you beat your best? Your finish line is always within reach. Get exclusive offers now at echelonfit.com.
This is CNN. More people get their news from CNN than any other news source.
There are new developments in the talks between China's leader Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The two leaders, in a show of unity in Moscow, reiterated their pledge to expand ties between the nations, as well as signing a joint declaration on their deepening partnership. This comes amid concerns that China might provide cover for Russia's military actions in Ukraine, as both Xi and Putin called for an end to actions that, quote, increase tensions and prolong the conflict. Now, the Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, says he is ready for dialogue with China on the Chinese program for peace there. CNN senior international correspondent Matthew Chance is in Moscow for us tonight, and CNN's Phil Mattingly is at the White House. Matthew, what more came out of the meeting today between Xi and Putin?
Well, first of all, John, it was a very symbolic affair. The fact that Xi Jinping was there at all sent a very potent message of support from China to Russia. And there were lots of expressions of solidarity between the two countries and promises of sort of bringing closer ties. That was what it was mainly about. A lot of deals were signed as well, more than a dozen projects launched to actually physically join the countries close together, bridges and things like that, and economic ties, bringing them closer. And there were discussions about a new pipeline to take Russian gas to China. So Russia really redirecting its economy towards the east. And of course, they also spoke in some detail, according to the Kremlin, about that Chinese peace proposal, which is very controversial because it calls for talks between the two countries, Ukraine and Russia, but stop short of demanding that Russia pull out of the areas it's conquered. And so these were all the kinds of things that were discussed as Xi Jinping left the meetings today. He you could be heard on camera saying to Vladimir Putin, look, together we're trying to bring about changes that haven't happened in 100 years, and we're doing it together. And Vladimir Putin said, yes, I agree. And then Xi Jinping drove off. So the sort of precisely the kind of changes they're trying to bring about, it seems, are quite dramatic.
So, Phil, at the White House, I should mention, how skeptical is the White House of this summit?
Look, I think there was significant skepticism heading into the summit, primarily due to the framing from Chinese officials that this was essentially a peace mission tied to that plan that Matthew was talking about. And officials were very cognizant of the fact that in the public statements over the course of 2 days, particularly the statements today, there was no substantial progress cited, no concrete or definitive words related to that beyond kind of the broad parameters of things. And I think that underscored for U.S. officials I've spoken to that the skepticism was merited. Now, I think they very much acknowledge the reality of a relationship that has grown significantly closer over the course of the last year, but they also frame it in a different manner than any kind of alliance or very close relationship between two similar world powers. They view it as a clear acknowledgement of Russia's dependency and growing dependency and reliance on China on the economic side of things. And while they are not sending lethal support, at least at this point in time, U.S. officials believe Chinese officials are also very cognizant of that reality and playing it to their advantage. But they do make clear they understand the symbolism here. They understand the moment this represents. What they don't believe actually transpired is anything significant on a tangible side of things as it relates to the conflict in Ukraine. But they will certainly be watching in the days ahead.
So Matthew, what do you know or what have you learned about efforts to organize a call between Xi and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky?
Well, I know that effort's underway because I've spoken to my sources inside Ukraine, and they've said that discussions are actually taking place to try and work out, how and when there can be a first conversation between President Zelensky of Ukraine and Xi